John Stewart says that in every conversation, we negotiate our identities, which is something we do more than who we are. He also says that our conversation in all our relationships can either bring quality, damage them, or destroy them altogether. Communication has power, and it affects every relationship in my life. Relationships are important to me. Therefore, I need to work to improve my communication. My name is Christy Trimble. I will share an evaluation of my communication state and my plan to improve my communication experiences. I will start with explaining my goal, why I selected this particular communication goal, and why I have to work for it. I will highlight some resources and strategies that can help me, and then cover my action plan to pursue this overall communication goal. In her book Awaken, Priscilla Shirer noted that fractional people are those who take away from the value and leave something less. Whole number people invest in others wholeheartedly, not holding back, multiplying and creating something more. I do not want to be a fractional person in a conversation so that the end result is less for those involved. I want to be a giver and contribute so that others gain from the interaction. My interpersonal communication goal is to cultivate my thinking, personality, and communication choices so that my conversations are increasingly consistent, authentic, and meaningful, and intentionally value others. This goal is important to me because I do not want my communication to be meaningless, filling up spaces in an attempt to gain what I need while overlooking what others need, regardless of the setting or the purpose of the conversation. The results of my personality behavior assessment through Uniquely You may help explain why I chose that goal. I found the results fairly accurate and even enlightening. For instance, understanding that my motivations are recognition, approval, and support from others explains why I tend to be a people pleaser. I act on the belief that people expect me to be inspirational and competent. And when I don't receive the recognition or approval that affirms that belief, I can take an all or nothing attitude that I'm a failure. The results explained why sometimes I feel like I'm two different people, at times very open to others, then suddenly shut down and reserved. I can be focused on people or on a task. I work from an optimistic viewpoint and then I can switch to a pessimistic one. And as I joked with a friend once, it depends on who is in the driver's seat as to who shows up, the happy-go-lucky one or the melancholy one. As a result, I feel I could have a more consistent message in my life. In relating to others, I can be warm and inspirational. I also tend to approach problems factually, but I'm not authoritative or assertive and can lose effectiveness here. I've been quick to speak, but slow to make decisions, even when it's left up to me. I can agonize over what to do. The recommendations for my assessment included being aware of the needs of others rather than pursuing my gain or my approval. To not get so caught up in problems that I'm lost to others. To be more focused and assertive. And to allow my natural enthusiasm and interest in people to facilitate my conversations. Due to my experiences, choices, and personality behavior, I have some barriers to effective communication. The dichotomy of my personality causes inconsistency in who I bring to the table of a conversation. My desire for support and approval can override the opportunity for deeper interpersonal communication. My lack of assertiveness can create frustration in conversation and feelings of not measuring up on my part. My absorption into whatever problems I'm feeling can cause me to miss those around me. My avoidance in saying what needs to be said, even in a loving way, can stunt my growth and the growth of others. It doesn't end there, however. As Stewart says, I can approach conversations with less anxiety by recognizing my identity issues and being authentic about who I am. Genuineness counts. Fortunately, there are several resources and strategies available to help overcome my communication barriers, such as transforming my mind through scriptures pertaining to my identity in Christ, intentionally using mindful listening in the moment techniques, enjoying the idea of letting others happen to me, making contributions toward generative spirals and refusing to participate in degenerative spirals, using the I hear you and I have a different perspective response, practicing Peterson's talker-learner cards in conversations with those who are close to me so that I can use those skills in more of my conversations, utilizing Peterson's techniques of decoding, playing detective, both hands, and admitting ignorance when talking with others to learn more about them, refusing the all or nothing thinking. A truthful statement by Stewart points out that, quote, the bigger the gap between what we hope is true and what we fear is true, the easier it is for us to lose our balance, end quote. Conversations reveal those gaps. So there must be an action plan to reach my goal. For my first two barriers, I plan to recognize the role that my dichotomies and motivations are playing in the quality of my relationships and conversations, and improve them so my need is reduced and I'm more available to others. To gain that consistent message, I can continue to ground my identity in Christ. I can also work to become aware of my identity issues that are at play, choosing to use some of the strategies mentioned earlier. For my third barrier, I plan to improve my skills in communication, especially when a decision needs to be made to reduce frustration and unhealthy dependency in my relationships. There are 3 steps I can take when I'm faced with a decision in communication. First, ask for input. I love being part of a team. I can take notice of nonverbal cues. Next, allow some time for thinking. If no one else contributes, it's time to be assertive and make a decision. Finally, accept that some of my decisions will not work out as well as I'd like. For my fourth barrier, I plan to improve my focus on the present and those around me. I can set aside specific time to concentrate on problems and research solutions. Then, when I'm around others, I can set the problems aside and use mindfulness techniques to maximize the personal. For my fifth barrier, I need to be able to handle difficult conversations on both sides. Over the years, I've matured some in taking correction. However, I can improve that by being willing to face my imperfections and refusing to become defensive. Instead, I can look to see what I can learn from it. The harder side, though, for me, is speaking when I have to say something I think someone may not want to hear. For this, I can remember that just as I am changed by conversations, so are they. In conclusion, my interpersonal communication goal will take intentional implementation into my conversations. I do not expect to be able to do it all at once. It will take working on each plan, one at a time, until I change the way I've approached and responded to interactions. However, experiencing quality conversations and deeper relationships as a result will be worth the effort, especially in preventing my conversations from becoming empty and meaningless, but instead wholesome and edifying for others and pleasing to the Lord. Thank you.